This conference will now be
Gonna
recorded.
start code 10 challenge. And this got manual testing. It's interview hints, interview questions. So let's get started with as I have discussed earlier, right? That we need to go over 10 questions from each topic. So say manual testing, Java, Selenium, AP testing, SQL, all these things. And as part of this, I'm gonna discuss today 10 questions on manual testing. So you need to be prepared on those 10 questions and then try to answer these 10 questions with your friends, with your family members, and then slowly in the interview, real-time interviews. So let's get started. 10 questions. First question you may asked, number one, it can say that tell me about yourself. Tell me about yourself, and as well as your roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities. I can say, and you can they will ask this question like in different way that explain your current project, right? Explain your current project, all together. So all together they can ask this question. So what how we answer this question? You know that, right? Already you can find this question in the document. So you can say your QA experience, QA experience. You can talk about your domain knowledge. So the domain you have in the resume. So talk a little bit about what are the functionalities you have worked on, and what are the component involved on this. Let's say that UI testing, API testing, and database, and what are the other tools, conferences, Jira. So all the tools you have involved with this knowledge, and also you can talk about your automation automation skill, hmm, automation skills. So that would be wonderful, because nowadays they want someone who can handle the automation script. So also you can and you know that agile agile team structure, you can talk about this. You can talk about automation tools, GitHub, each and every tools. You can talk about those tools, right? Tools. So this is actually how you can explain your how your but remember this domain knowledge is very important, and automation skill, agile team structure, tools, and these are all the things are very important. At first, you need to talk about your experience. So they ask this question in a separately or at the same time they ask this question. So remember this, okay? Second question you may get is like let's say that how you write an effective test cases. So, effective test cases, or how do you write effective test effective test cases, test cases. So test cases you can to write the test cases or design the test cases, I can say to design the test cases, I you need to understand, need to understand. I'm just writing, right? I'm not writing the whole line. I'm just writing this. I mean, the keyword. You need to understand the requirement. Understanding the requirement. I will talk about this understanding requirements, and then and based on the requirements, we can say identify positive, negative is these cases. So you can talk about this, and you can talk about that the steps, that test case, uh, case steps like test case id, test cases, test cases. You can talk about the story, story, the steps actually when you design a test case, when you write the test cases, right? The different companies, different steps they follow. Test case, you can say test data, um, you can say precondition, expected result, say result, actual result. You can talk about comments. So these are there are few more steps. You can add those things, and you can talk about um, um, clearly that how to design test cases, requirement, positive, negative test case steps. So this is how you can write effective test cases. So integration test case, sometimes you can talk about this like, okay, positive, negative. Those are some of the test cases, integration test cases, right? Integration test cases. Test cases. Sometimes you can say that all the flow, like say smoke suit has a different flows, right? Uh-huh. So we can talk about the end-to-end flow, right? End-to-end flow. Test cases. You can write about this. So you need to talk about that. How many test cases? What are the test cases? And how many ways you can write the test cases, designing test cases. So from the very beginning till end. So number three, we can say that there's another question. Um, they will ask like say that explain your agile Scrum experience. Yes. So you talk about meetings, meetings, meetings. At first, talk about that sprint. This is the 2 weeks sprint, right? 2 weeks sprint meetings. Not that there are different meetings. I will talk about daily stand-up meeting. Um, I can talk about that grooming meeting, sprint planning meeting, sprint review meeting, retrospective meeting. Talk about this meeting, some PI meetings. Let's say talk about mm, defect trials meeting. All these meetings you can talk about those, and also that team members also you can add as well. Team composition. Team composition you can talk about um, little bit just one line, that release process. Let's say that you could say 2 months release, even though it's not part of the agile process, but you can talk about this as well. So mainly you talk about um, sprint, you talk about meetings, you talk about team composition, you talk about release. So this is how you can explain your agile process. Number four, the question they will try to get into your project, and not only the domain and not only your experience, they want to learn from you about a critical bug. Yes, so that they will ask you, tell me about the most critical bug you found, you encountered, something like that. Most critical bug. So most critical bug, you can talk about the feature first, that which feature has that bug, feature first, and then you discover how you discovered the bug, how you found the bug. You can talk about this, and what was the impact, impact on the business. You can talk about this. You can talk about how you did RCA. I mean root cause analysis. Whether you had to go to check you, they say that you found your bug in UI, but how did it happen? Let's say that you went back to API, you can find that service layer, you can go to that controller, you can try to understand that router and find that problem where it was. Then you can go back to SQL, write some query, and check that whether whether the data is there inside that database, all these things. So this is how you do your root cause analysis, right? And then you can say and you how you log the bug, and how and team resolve team resolve the issue, okay? And you retest it, right? And retest it. So this is how you can answer. Number 5. Next question, you might get like, let's say there was, I mean, on the bug there was a, a challenging defect. This is the previous one, it was critical defect, I understand, but next one, challenging defect, and developer initially um, rejected. He said it's not a bug. Huh? So you can, let's say that, oh, explain uh, challenging defect that developer initially rejected. Hmm? So how you talk about this? You need to same way. You need to talk about the feature. You need to same thing. You can talk about the feature, bugs, and then and you can talk about that you are trying to reproduce the bug, right? Reproduce the bugs in different browser. You can change the test data, after changing the test data. So that you can talk about this. You can talk about uh, this is, yeah, these are the things, you can explain. You can take this screenshot. Screenshot. You can talk about um, some logging tool. Let's say that I would say Datadog log. You can talk about jam.dev. These are different logging tools. You can use a logging tools that has all the applications log, screenshots. They have some videos. So everything you can just collect. So because is developer rejected, right? So that when you test, when you get the bug, you need to make sure that you have all the documents, all the evidences on the bug. And then uh, and finally, you can say that finally developer accepted the bug, uh, a bug, and consider eventually fixed it, and you retest it, right? Tested. You close the bug. You can talk about this. The following question, you might think about it. They will ask you, um, let's say that there are very, let's say that time is very limited. Um, there's a release comes up, and or there's an urgent release comes up, so you need to test a lot of, you need to, execute a lot of test cases. So in that situation, uh, how do you decide, which test cases to execute? Or you can say when you have very limited time. So these are the so you can talk about these are test cases, or this type of test cases. I decide to execute when time is very limited. So you can mention some lists so that let's I would say that prioritize like high risk, high risk, high risk test cases, You can talk about some smoke suit. Huh? Smoke suit always the flow, so that flow you must test. Huh? Smoke suit. Huh? It's not that big. It's like a not that big. Some they say that there are some bugs you got um, the previous release or previous sprint, so that you can add those test cases. So you can say that impacted bug or impacted area, impacted area areas. You can talk about this, and you can talk about uh, you can talk about yeah, and so some risk based testing. Huh? Talk about some risk based testing. So these are the things you can think about. Okay. The next question. Uh, mm, this question is very important. Huh? They will ask you that um, describe production, huh? Production bug, right? Describe a production bug that you have missed, hmm? That you have missed um, um, while testing. Hmm? So you know that there are different environment, right? Let's say dev environment, huh? Dev, QA, UAT, or you can say pre-pod and the production, right? So what happened actually? You found a bug in you found whatever bug you found in Q environment, so that's good. But if you missed a bug in your Q environment, that goes ultimately to the production, and someone got that bug and returned back to the team. Now uh, in this situation, actually, what you gonna do? What will be your approach? So you need to make sure that I would say that you just explain a bug first. What's the bug? Explain the bug first. Then then talk about how you missed that, or why you missed that, right? Why you missed a bug, and then you can talk about that. After that, how you how the team resolved the bug, resolved the bug, and you talk about this. So that prevention, some prevention stuff, so that the next time you're not gonna miss it, right? Prevention um, actions, I consider preventive actions, right? Actions uh, for uh, future people sector, so that you're not gonna so that uh, we won't miss the bug in future. So this is how you can talk about this. So make sure that you need to talk about the bug first and how did you miss it, and hmm, and and or why you missed the bug, and how the team resolved the bug in the previous exam. So what you need to talk about this for the next time, so that when I write my test cases, I send it to the developers or send it to my test leads for review. This once it's reviewed, that means it's not only you design the test cases, it has been reviewed by the lead, so that if you miss something, they're going to notify you that you missed this, so that you will add some test cases, and based on the test case, you get the bug in your queue environment. Not It's not going to go to the production environment. So that this is the preventive steps you can take. And okay, the following question. So you can say they ask you that, tell me about situation when there's a requirement change, right? When requirement changes, requirement changed during the sprint, in this sprint. So how you talk about this? You can talk about what was the requirement first, huh? Requirement first, huh? Then what are the changes? What was the change? What was the change? And then after that, how did you know you modify your test cases, huh? Modify your test cases, and then you can talk about communication with the team, right? Communication with the team. So this is how it can, and you can complete. You can say that, okay, and complete it within the sprint. So do not talk about like this. It happened frequently, because during the sprint, usually we do not accept any requirement change. Hmm. Any requirement change, we do not accept. The team actually is so busy that team cannot accept any new requirement or updated requirement during the sprint. Actually, we do that, but it happens sometimes, not sometimes. You don't talk about sometimes, one or two times. You just need to, you can remember one situation, not, you cannot say that it happened frequently. Okay. So product owner or business analyst, they don't do that frequently, even though client wants some change. I mean, product owner and business analyst, they stop client. They're not gonna, it's not gonna happen frequently. So the next question, describe, you can say that, describe a situation or describe a time, when you can say when you disagree, or with a developer, or they disagree with you, huh? Developer with, or BA or product owner, huh? I mean, it can happen vice versa. They can disagree, they can disagree with them, right? So, hmm. So how you talk about what would be the answer? You can say that fight with them, right? Fight with them. Um, you know, in an open field, right? Open field, in front of the team. The team, with a stick. It's wrong answer. I'm just joking. Wrong answer. What would be the answer? You can talk about that how you communicate professionally, right? Professional communication. And you can talk about that, if it is an issue with the requirement, if requirement issue, I mean the if requirement issue, I mean the disagreement is based on the requirement, we can involve, we can involve product owner, business analyst, so that they are the subject matter expert. They can explain the requirement. Is there is any gaps, any dots, or any doubt? So we can, and whenever you talk to them, you talk to them respectfully, not like in a fighting mood. Okay, and then resolve it. Resolve it. You can win or you can lose, but you have to accept it. Whatever decision, team has to decide it. Okay. So make sure professional communication. I mean, we can involve the team. We take the expert's opinion, but finally we have to resolve it. If it is a bug issue, we can involve. Can have a defect triage meeting. Defect triage meeting means you developer and the product owner, so that that can be solved. And last question, you can, there's now this question, they ask this question a lot. You can just say that, just say that how did you use AI, in your testing process? So, AI can help in different way. AI can help in different way. Let's say that AI help. AI is not something that is AI that can do everything that I was supposed to do. Not like that. AI can use it as a productivity tool. Productivity tool. It can help you to be, I mean, productive. It can say that it can it can help me to, number one, you can say that generate test cases. You can talk about generate SQL queries, or you can talk about before the generating test cases. It can help me to understand the requirement, right? Okay. And also summarize the requirement, summarize the story. So that this is very important. And also you can, they say that it can or help me to, generate, I can say that API payloads, give you some test data, generate test data, very helpful. And it can help me to, I can say that, um, bug reports. It also sometimes help us to get a bug reports, on the automation side. It can help us generate, uh, to generate um, automation code, would help me to debug as well, me to debug. And so you can talk about this test shoot code, this test shoot code. And what are the AI tools you have used? You can talk about, um, ChatGPT is very popular, right? OpenAI, ChatGPT. You can talk about, Claude UI. These are for these are for, that these are not for the, for the coding. You can get some general information. They will explain all these things. But on the coding side, you can use Codex. You can use Claude Code. You can use GitHub Copilot. So these are the UI you have used, for those, uh, in your testing process. Okay. So these are the 10 questions. Actually, you just need to go over those 10 questions, write a complete note on each question, and you know, revise it with your peer, or he or she can ask you question. You can answer the question and try to make sure that you understand this. That talk fluently and nicely. Okay. All right. So let's conclude today. Thank you so much.